everybody, I'm TJ Major, spotter of the 6 Cup car this last weekend. I also had the 88, and we're gonna have a really fun show today.
Yeah, Brett Griffin, this may be my last show. I've applied for 2 jobs, offensive coordinator and wide receiver coach at the University of South Carolina. So I feel sure I'm going to get a call back. So in the event you guys don't see me around here anymore, it's because my football team sucks and I've had enough.
I had no idea Old Dominion was such a powerhouse in the football world. What's up, Freddie Kraft, spotter for Bubba Wallace, Kyle Sieg this week. We can announce now, finally, Casey has put it out there that the lovely Carter has joined us. Casey had a baby, obviously, a couple weeks ago with Carson filling in for her. So congratulations, Casey, Chad, Chloe. I just seen Chloe's super sassy birthday party, it looked like. I seen Brooke post some pictures of that. But Carson, you're back with us 3 weeks in a row. I can't believe you made it this long.
Ready for snow.
And it turns out it's not because you guys like me. It's just because you need to fill it. Yeah. So here I am again.
Did you forget that we don't have air conditioning? Is that what happened today with your...
I've heard enough of the turtleneck already. I'm over it.
I know you had to wear a parka here today.
Listen, when you have goosebumps later, don't call me.
And it's not just a turtleneck. It's a tucked in turtleneck.
I didn't notice it was tucked in.
Yeah, it's
you
a
guys
sweater.
Just wish you knew how to dress.
I just wish I was as skinny as you are. Speaking of skinny, we got a special guest in the house. I've known this guy since he was a teenager racing late models out at Radford back in the day. I actually went and spotted for him. I think I spotted the truck win you had at Martinsville, too. It's been so long. If I didn't, I was standing right beside your dad.
We'll give you credit for it.
Thank you. I'll take all the credit I get.
Look at Brett making it about himself.
Team president Jon Wood is in the house.
You might have.
I think I did.
That's impressive. That's even more impressive that you won then.
Neither one of us remember it.
Yeah.
It's probably been a long time.
So I gotta bring this up right off the bat. When you sat down in this chair today, you were on the phone with somebody and told them you were on a Real Man's podcast. Who were you talking to, and what was that in reference to?
It was Ryan Flores. And
Who?
He needs no introduction. Everybody in the world knows who Ryan Flores is.
I actually don't know who he is. What podcast?
You've got a T-shirt.
Yeah.
You've got a T-shirt of his.
Who's that again?
Yeah, okay.
What podcast?
I mean, I'm with you on that. Like, yeah, grow that dude's head any bigger, it won't fit to the door. This is going to be hard because, like, I'm so bad about just letting loose.
We want you to let
with
loose.
These
let
three,
loose.
I don't know how. There's, like, no restrictions.
Listen, just close your eyes, pretend we're not here, let it out.
We have bleeps and such.
We could edit post show anything.
Yeah,
So,
you can literally say whatever.
that's the only thing. That's the only thing that saved us over the years.
Yeah,
But no, like, he gives me crap about coming here for this, but, like, he's never asked me to be on Stacking Pennies. So
That's no
hell
big
with
loss.
it.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, you're not missing much anyways.
yeah, I mean,
they've never asked anybody to listen either. So
Hey, you don't have to worry because that's something Kale never said either, that he's been on Stacking Pennies.
he's like, well, you've got an open invitation. Anytime you want to come. I'm like, well, I never got it. Like, how am I supposed to know that? So,
well, welcome to the Man's Podcast, as you call
Real
it.
Man's.
Yeah.
Real Man's Podcast, door bumper clear.
Tell me you're jealous without telling me you're jealous.
Oh,
You have an
boy.
open invitation anytime
So what's
you
been
want.
going on, John? Not much new in your world lately. The last couple of weeks, I'm
Yeah.
assuming it's like
Slow.
pretty slow times.
Yeah. I've been waiting on this one because I know where you stand with the playoff thing, and, like,
He's over it.
we're not. I'm on your side in a roundabout way. Like, we can have friendly discussion, and I'm not gonna.
Oh yeah.
Like, but for real, like, you can. My thing on this whole deal, you can appreciate the fact that the team won and say the playoff system has issues. You can do that.
Yeah,
I
it can be
think.
both. Absolutely.
And
And it turned out after this week, it didn't matter that you guys won. So, either way,
No,
we would
you're
have
right.
been
It didn't. Yeah. Now that you mention it. So, but no, like, that's been my thing this whole, because, like, a lot of people have been talking about it on Twitter, and as long as you can say, like, I'm happy for Eddie, for Lynn, for Leonard, as long as you can say that.
Well, let me
Bash
ask you
the
this.
bash the playoffs all you want.
Here's what you're referencing without saying what you're referencing. You're saying the debate about your too low in points
Yes.
and having won a race, qualifying you for the playoff, fans are upset about it. That's what you're saying. So let me ask you this. When did the Wood brothers start racing?
No.
1950. First Cup race, 1953.
BC.
When did they win a Cup race?
I would
1960. Okay, obviously I know the answers. I work for the Wood brothers.
I don't even know that.
He looked at it last night.
I celebrated their 50-year anniversary. I ran their PR campaign for that back in
You ran that.
2000.
That.
I ran the whole thing. Okay, so yes, I know the Wood brothers.
You're
answers.
amazing.
So would you be happy as a fan? By the way, I have on a Daniel Hemrick shirt. Would you be happy if Daniel Hemrick had won in Daytona and made the playoffs versus Harrison Burton? You would be happy if somebody 30th versus 34th wins.
I told Harrison, he was on here last week for a little bit, and I told him, I said, as much as I want to be mad at you, I can't. Like, for one, Harrison, Jeff, great people. The Wood brothers, great people. John, obviously, is a friend of ours. Jeremy's a friend of mine, the crew chief. Jason Jarrett's an amazing friend of mine, the spotter. I said, as much as I'd like to be pissed off that we just got bumped out of the playoffs last night, you can't be mad at these guys.
But what's the difference in 30th in owner points or driver points versus 34th? If you truly are going to make an argument that 30th deserves to make the playoff if he wins over 34th, I'm going to send you to the bar and tell you to order a double tall of shut the up. Because there's no difference.
I said swap 25 last week on here.
When my position on this is, when was the last time somebody worse than about 17th mattered in the end?
Yeah.
It's Kyle Larson, Danny. It's the top 4 or 5 that matter. The rest of it's just noise. They're there just to fill a space to make it where there's drama.
If you go back, and we just saw a couple years ago, 2022, we had 15 winners that year. Martin Truex was 4th in points, didn't make the playoffs. If you go back and look at the parallels of that year compared to this year, it's all the same people. Austin Cindric won a race that year. Austin Dillon won a race. Obviously, his didn't count this year. Briscoe, Cindric, Suarez. The only one that's different is Harrison, and maybe because now all of a sudden it's an outrage because of maybe how low he is in points. But who cares? Like, he did what he had to do to win the race. That's what the rule system is now. If you want to argue about changing it, like you said, is it the 16 best cars in the sport going for the championship next week? No, probably not. But that's not what the rules are. And you can't, whatever it is. Even if you make it a top 25 rule and the 25th place guy in points wins and he points his way, he gets a win and the top 25, he's still not one of the best 16 maybe, but that's not what the rules are. The rules are win and you're in. You guys won the race. There's nothing you can take away from that, and you did what you had to do.
If you own a charter and run the same driver all the time, you're essentially eligible. And you should be.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't get a difference in 25th and 34th.
It's not a big difference.
To me, I think the one thing I liked about it was the fact that you have an added layer of intrigue. Say Harrison wins Daytona 1 instead of Daytona 2. Now you have that added layer of intrigue of, okay, now he's going to have to run well enough in points. And you guys might call races differently because now you're not really worried about, you just have to worry about getting into that top 30, getting into that top 25. So you're just trying to bank all the points you can all year. And you have that added layer of some kind of drama to where, now he's won a race, but he's still got to get to this level to make it to the playoffs. But other than that, like, who cares? Like, I mean, obviously it burned us this year. We were 50 points, I think, better than we were last year, but 6 guys behind us in points won a race. Look at how much drama there was at Darlington. Like, how much you still paid attention to that ticker of who's in, who's out. Like, I found myself doing it. It's like Big Brother. I don't know if you ever watch Big Brother, but like, who's going to get voted off this week? And you really don't know until that very last second who's done. And this was kind of like that. I mean, I hate to use that analogy, but
hey, listen, if Austin Dillon win counts, there's only one guy making it on points.
Yeah, that's how it was in 2022. And the only difference was this year, we had 15 winners again. Austin's win didn't count, so 2 guys got in.
I mean, I'm biased when I say this, but I would much rather have the 21 car with Harrison Burton in it over the 2 with Austin Cindric in it. I don't care where's Austin Cindric in points?
He's like 17th or 18th.
Who cares?
I don't think he's that high.
Listen, here's the reality.
They're all in the top 20.
Well,
except
here's the reality about how the schedule
before.
works. Here's what happens. The 21 car, when they start their season, their goal is to win a race and make the playoff. They know they're not championship caliber team at this point in time. Right?
Yeah.
I hate to say this, but the 23-11 team of Bubba Wallace wants to win a race and make the playoff. Now, the difference is Tyler Reddick, we know, is championship caliber. So having been on the teams that you just pray to make the playoff, that's what you're racing for the first 26 weeks. Make the playoff, make the playoff. You've got about 6 teams that are really out there for something different. They're out there. The 24 team is not trying to make the playoff. They're trying to win a championship. There's a big difference in those approaches.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of different things to look at. What if he wins the Daytona 500, like you said, and then has terrible luck and falls to 34th in the points from there, are you still saying he shouldn't be in? You know what I mean?
He won the biggest race of the year.
That's what I'm saying. But
you can't be 34th in points unlucky. Where'd you start points this year?
After the
first 2 races.
No, you're right though.
36.
You can't be that low. You can't be that low unlucky. I'm just saying.
No, you're right.
It's possible to just
You
have
could get a
bad luck.
penalty. You could get a penalty that kicks your ass.
You can
mean,
be
you could-
34th after Daytona.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were 36 after Atlanta.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know where we're at now. 8th, maybe 7th, 8th, somewhere in there.
Are you a championship caliber team?
I think
No.
we're a step below them, but I think we can make them nervous at times. I think we have a shot at it. I don't. I'm glad that's you.
And I mean, I'm just being honest with you. There's a lot we got to talk about today. John, I'm glad you're here because I know you'll chime in. But Carson's looking at me like, you can't say that. I can't.
No, you can. I'm just laughing.
I'm just trying to keep track in my head of the things I need to worry about that I've said after the
Make
fact. I think I'm good right now.
Make a note on your phone every time.
He's going to have like the Sunday scaries when he leaves here.
It's usually like that. Like I don't even want to talk about it. Because I just forget where I'm at. Like I feel like I'm just sitting around like dudes I know and I'm talking and then it's
That's
like
kind of what happens a
Yeah.
lot. And the next thing you know, you get an email. It's like, hey, can you meet us in the holler?
Season assist.
So John did admit he's been living it up all week. He said he had breakfast today at the Cracker Barrel.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Is that like next level for your morning routine?
Well, let me show you how many points I have. at
Doesn't
Chick-fil-A.
Cracker
I was just
Barrel
saying,
have
I know
the
last
most
time
now?
last time you were on here, we went over the Chick-fil-A points. I didn't know if they were still
Yeah, you,
accumulating.
Can you gift me some? He
So
has
that's like-
371,000 Chick-fil-A points.
That's like 45,000 nuggets or something stupid.
It's like $1 for every point, right?
Holy cow.
I thought my 11,000 McDonald's points was a lot. That's
I remember the last time you were on here, we talked about it, and you were like, it was
It's-
wild then.
it's
It hasn't
dumb.
got any better.
I've never spent one. Never. I just collect them.
What point do you think it's ever going to be like where you're just like, you know what, I'm going to have 45,000 chicken nuggets?
Yeah,
today.
I mean,
I know the guys that work there, so I'd probably have to go to a different one to place that order.
They
if
fear
you guys ever get in a pickle, you can get a free team lunch straight up.
That's
right
what I
there
was
from
saying.
the Chick-fil-A.
Probably,
that's
probably
like-
a season worth of free
that's what I was
lunches.
thinking. Yeah, that's more than a day of team lunch right there.
Before we dive into the show, though, I do want to ask you a few questions about your role, man. How much has changed over the years? Obviously, you were a race car driver, turned all kind of different things, now team president. What is probably the most challenging thing about your job right now?
If you'd asked me 10 years ago, it would be getting up in the mornings, like making it before it became PM. Like that would be a challenge. I don't know. It came when I least expected it. Like I'd been searching for a position where I kind of fit in. And if you spend half your life thinking you're going to be a driver and you go down that road and then you wake up in November and you're not anymore and you make that forward-facing decision that I'm never going to do this again. And that's what I did. Like there are guys that went from driving full-time to being a starting park. And they're like, well, that's how I'm going to feed my kids, or I'll get back in it one day being a starting. No, you're not. You're going to be a starting park forever. And I just didn't want to do that. Not saying that I could have, that I had the ability, but I just wasn't going to, like, that ain't it. So for a few years, I'm like, where do I fit here? What am I going to do? And my dad was cool enough to let me have it. It's not like I took time off. I mean, I was still with the team. I just didn't have super big responsibilities. And if I didn't show up one weekend, he didn't care, like whatever. And then I slowly started phasing back in and sort of making my own space. And I didn't expect this jump from like low life to president in a week. And it was weird how it all happened because it was the start of the season and Lynn had some health issues and he thought I'm being coarse here when I'm saying this, but I think he thought it might be the end of the road for him, but it wasn't even close, but he thought that at the time. And so they started thinking about continuity of government's not the right word, but like, what is it? Like
A successor.
yeah, that's it. Successor, like Game of Thrones and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm hooked on that this morning. And so now I've lost my train of thought. What were we talking? Yeah, president. So he was sick, and my dad's like, well, let's just try this. And I didn't know it at the time, but he was talking to Lynn about it. And next thing I know, they're like, hey, we're going to talk to the lawyers and like make you the president.
Yeah.
Okay.
So your sister Jordan, first cousin Kevin.
Yep.
What are their roles now?
So my sister does all the marketing aspects of the team. We have a PR person. She doesn't do at-track PR, but she handles all the marketing. And Kevin has a multi-position role. He just does kind of whatever needs getting done. And the way our family organization works is we all just chip in. And I know that sounds cliche or boring, but like this afternoon, me, all the ones you just named, Lynn, my dad, Jordan, we'll get on a call to figure out how we're going to manage this. It's like a sign hanging ceremony where we have all those driver pictures on the walls at the museum. So Harrison gets to have his picture on the wall now.
Wow.
And Etzel wants to come and be a part of that, Etzel Ford. And so we got to figure out the logistics behind that. And we don't have like a staff of event planners like a lot of people do.
Right.
And we just have us. And so we're going to try to figure that out. And sometimes it works. Sometimes we look stupid, but most of the time it works out.
So how often do you get back to Stewart, Virginia?
In the wintertime, about every weekend. Because I still have a lot of stuff I do up there. A lot of people that I know. And so about every weekend. And then in the summer, it's hard with baseball. I like an idiot. I'm a coach for
I can't see you
baseball.
coaching.
I am. Coach John. Yep.
So you get thrown right into the fire this year where you have to replace a driver.
Yep.
You know, we always have the debate on here, money versus talent, and it's obviously raging in our sport right now where guys are getting rides based on money versus based on talent. You guys obviously took the route of hiring somebody that doesn't have a lot of money behind them, seemingly, from the outside looking in. How does that play a factor into your decision making? What does Josh bring to you guys? You say we're going to get this guy versus taking somebody's money and putting them in our car.
That's a good question. I don't know. Like I don't know how to answer that. I think part of it is driver availability for this year, for 2025. And the thing about Harrison, there's not a nicer guy. Like you can't help but want him to do well. When you talk to him, the more you get to know him, I don't see him as a driver. I see drivers a lot of times as like guys that won't return your calls, text messages. You can't ask them to do anything. You tell them happy birthday. They don't tell you happy birthday. Like that's a little saying or not a saying, but like metaphorically, like you do for them, they don't do for you. But it's the opposite with him. He's a really, really good guy. So it hurts that we're in this position where we had to replace him, but drivers signed up for it. I did it. I was there. I went through it too. You get all the credit, you get all the glory, but you get all the blame. And you're the first one to be replaced when things don't go right. And I think he understands that. I think Jeff's been around long enough. I know Jeff's been around long enough where he understands it. And like, we're not bad people for doing this. It was the same with Matt DiBenedetto. You know, it wasn't fun ending that relationship, but we had to. We didn't have a choice. And so moving toward Josh, it's just he's just different. It's not better. It's not worse. He's just different. More serious all around, less of a, let's go to Topgolf. Like that, he's just different. And different in a good way. Not saying that, but I'm looking forward to him. I mean, he seems like he's got a lot of the pieces that we're missing.
Do you build the team around him, or do you plug him into your current leadership as far as crew chief, engineers, et cetera, or do you even know yet?
Don't know yet, but I would imagine it's built around him. And whether that's a crew chief, whether that's car chief, whether it's all of it, none of those decisions have been made yet. But I would imagine that they're going to give him whatever tools he feels like he needs for success.
So we look at it as insiders and see the heavy alliance and affiliation with Penske. When you're talking about building the team around him, who sits in on those meetings from a personnel standpoint? Is it you now that you're president? It's still you, Eddie, Lynn? Who's in there?
I was in there all along. I mean, it was never where I was excluded. I just was more of like a side step person. Like I didn't have a position at the table or whatever, but I had a seat. Like I was there. It's very much that we're involved in all those decisions, and we were totally from start to finish involved with Josh. It's not a secret that we talked to Chase Briscoe. It takes me a minute to remember Chase Briscoe. That didn't work out. Josh was whether he was the first logical step or the second, because there was Ford commitments there. There were they were pushing for Chase because he was a Ford driver.
He's a Ford guy, yeah.
But we were happy to be able to make Josh an offer, and he very quickly, like within minutes of our first meeting, I knew we probably had our driver.
Yeah, he got a deal done.
Yep.
Man, that's I saw a tweet that I thought was funny, but at the same time, I was like, this guy's being serious. You got 100 wins, and the next 100 are on you.
Yeah.
Okay. Dang.
Yeah.
No pressure.
Start knocking them out.
But I know your personality. I know at first you saw that and you laughed, and then you probably were like,
Yeah. Like people get caught up in the moment. I remember when Blaney won his first race with us, and it went from, man, like it would just be so neat if we were in position to win a race, to we're going to win them all. Like this ain't the last one. It's like, are you watching the same thing I'm watching? Like, have you forgotten how hard this is?
Yeah.
Every week.
Yeah.
So we go and win at Daytona. I started to say Atlanta. We win Daytona. The next thing I'm hearing is, well, you guys are probably going to win Atlanta too.
Just give us a break.
Let's back up a minute. And it's not that we're not, like, it's not that I don't have the confidence. It's just this stuff is hard. And I'm trying not to cuss. Like, I've done really well not to cuss. But, like,
I'm proud of you.
It's hard.
all right, you've been around for a lot of wins, obviously a lot of wins in your history, freaking 100 of them. Which one's your personal favorite? And it's okay to say Harrison's if it is.
Well, so I got a cut of the merchandise sales back when I'm being honest here. When Blaney won, I was getting a cut of that.
That's nice.
Of the diecast and stuff. So I was pumped about that one. And I was pushing those things too. like got 5 more days to put those orders in. That was a good, but it was also that race was critical for us to probably continue as a race team. We'd gone full time the year before, but we still hadn't really established ourselves as like a competitive team. Even though Blaney he finished 8th in points or something crazy that year.
Right.
But like we still hadn't really done enough where I think Ford and Motorcraft and everybody had enough confidence in us to say, okay, like we're here long term. I think they probably would have, but the win helped that. And so that win probably was a big one.
I think
I watched you, TJ. I'm sorry. I watched you guys go back to part-time racing, and I'm not gonna lie, man, it broke my heart because I was like, here is my favorite small town team. You guys were in Stewart, Virginia forever, and it looked like you may be heading out of business, like Robert Yates, like Bill Davis, like a lot of the small guys. You're the last guy to survive that was on that small level that didn't, consolidate and chased a 2-car, 3-car, 4-car team thing. And then when you didn't have a charter, I was like, man, we got to get a charter, literally. So I can't imagine the pressure that Eddie and Lynn back then were feeling to what do we do to cement our legacy? Because at one point I was afraid it was going away.
Yeah, and I didn't know about it at the time. Like I had no idea it was as bad as it was. And I appreciate my dad, really, it was him, not including me in those very tense calls, meetings. I think at one point they met with every single owner in the garage trying to figure out a way to make not an alliance, but like, hey, can you help bail us out here and we'll like be absorbed somehow? Like they had those talks, and fortunately they all gave them the middle finger and said no, because had they done that, we wouldn't be here.
Right.
And we were close to, and I think going back to part-time is what saved our business, because had they tried to keep going like a lot of teams do, we would have been done. Like, we didn't have the money. It was we took what we had and said, okay, here's enough to run 36 super half-ass, or we can do 12 the right way, and that's what they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna. I think we'll all agree on this. Is you look at this, the Wood brothers and the group that they have there. Through whether they win or lose, that group never changes. You go by that truck; it's the friendliest family and people you can see. You go to Daytona. You go to what's the other Italian place there? Portofino's. You go to Portofino's, you're going to see them.
George's. That's how they refer to it, because they know the
Oh,
dude
yeah,
that
yeah.
owns the
You go in
place.
there, you're sure to see them,
Yep.
talk to them. I mean, hell, they'll probably even buy you dinner. So, but
They are creatures of habit like no other.
and it's awesome. I mean, even this last week, you go by there, and I went by there and shook everyone's hand, man, and congratulate them, because that group just never changes. And if you win 10 in a row, they're happy for you. You know what I mean? It just never, I don't know. It's just, they set the bar on how to handle yourself. And, when you walk away, you're like, man, I want to be like them. To me, anyway.
That's what's so hard for me, because I'm just so out of control, and like everybody, like just what he just said. And so like, I need to tone it down and say the right things here. And I want people to be happy for those guys. Like, be happy for these three guys that helped build this sport and have not sacrificed, but dedicated.
Yeah, they've sacrificed.
Whatever.
Oh, wait, more than we'll know.
Their lives to this sport and for its betterment and to make it a more attractive place. They've helped a lot of people. So it hurts when I see the criticism on Twitter from people that don't know them. Send it to me. That's fine. I can take it. But they see that stuff, and it sucks. It sucks to see it.
I think it's cool, and we'll dive in the show after I say this. I think it's really cool that it's Eddie, Lynn, and Kim Woodhall, and now it's John, Kevin, and Jordan.
And Kim gets a lot of responsibility, a lot of work, and no credit at all. And she puts in as many hours.
It's
as they
literally
do.
her baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, she's just as much.
And she's got to be married to Terry.
And think about that for a minute. Imagine. We say that we joke about that a lot. It's like, well, she's struggling today, but she's married to Hall, so it kind of makes sense. cut her break.
Everybody in the industry that knows Terry Hall is laughing right now because he's a special one.
Oh, that's a good word for it, I think.
We love him.
Pick your friends, not your family.
All right, we'll let John off the hot seat
Yeah.
now. How was Darlington, TJ? How'd you guys make out, except for getting out of 17's way all night long?
We just quiet race. I mean, we ran right between 9th and 11th most of the night. We weren't.
When you were running 10th, you just bailed on it.
No, it's how it worked out.
Got tight.
We just weren't that good. Honestly, we weren't that good.
Just let Chris Buescher just go by you.
Which time? No.
At least you own it.
We actually
You're gonna have to be more specific.
we actually outrun Chris most of the night. So, there was some guys that were fading in the beginning that you kind of. I mean, at the beginning of that race, you look at the top 6. You're like, is this? Did we actually qualify? Did rain stop something? Because you had the 77 up there. He was on the front row, right?
Second, yeah.
What are you trying to say?
Yeah, that. Bubba. His car is so fast. He wrecked it in qualifying and still got the pole. So
He got that special plate.
He did. He got grip plate, whatever you want to call it. But
Must have fell off somewhere in the middle.
yeah, well, it was a slow decline. Like, as soon as Bubba fell to like 4th or 5th, you could tell it was struggling more. And I think you probably settled out around 8th or so, right? 7th, 8th, somewhere in there.
Yeah, I mean, we were really strong, and as you guys know, like, you're really strong, but you got to set your car up for you start on the pole. If you're in clean air, you got to be a little bit tighter because you're going to be freer in clean air. Well, then once you lose that clean air, we had a bad restart and went from leading or 2nd to 4th. And then once you get to 4th, you're tighter. And then you fall to 6th and you're even tighter. And then it's just, now you start chasing the balance all night. It's really what happened to us. And then we got it pretty good at the end. We had really good strategy at the last stage. We ran long and kind of flipped a script, and I think caught the 17 out a little bit and had fresh rubber at the end of the run. And we made it interesting, at least. I looked up at one point, we were tied with the 17 before the 14, which the 14, by the way, I knew the second run of the race, he was a top 3 car.
Oh, yeah.
He had great speed all night long. He was driving the out of it. You know, the one time he ran us down, we kind of aero blocked, whatever you want to call it, and like kind of rode for a little bit in front of him. And you could see he burned his stuff up a little bit, faded. But then every run, it seemed like they got a little bit better. And but they were really strong all night. So nothing to take away from them guys.
I don't. Was Chase in that car? I couldn't tell.
Well,
I mean, that was the best race I've seen him drive.
Absolutely. I said on here a few weeks ago after he announced his 19 deal, I was like, he's got to get up on the wheel right here because he can't transition into a new hot rod sucking. And I was somewhat surprised he got the nod to even get in the 19 car, given his resume and given what I saw him do last year, which was run last at every mile and a half. So a big shout out to him because he did drive his ass off. That car was fast. Boswell, JD, Mike Cook, guys that I know from back in my SHR days, like, man, hats off to those guys because he kicked their ass. When Ross decided to stay out, and Briscoe had a big enough run to make it 3 wide. I was watching a race with Colt McKinney, who's an up-and-coming race car driver. He's 11 years old. I said, they ain't going to beat this guy, and they didn't beat him.
Yeah, he was the smartest I've ever seen him drive all night. He rode second, rode top 3 all night long, and you just kept waiting. Okay, he's going to try too hard here soon. Never happened. And then he waited until the opportunity presented itself because, like, if you hang out in that top 5, top 3, things are going to happen eventually, and he had an opportunity, and when he got that opportunity, he made it work. Like, so I don't know how. I mean, best race. It's close to Homestead truck race when I spotted that race for him. He drove a really good race. Homestead's a tough place to be, run against the fence and not hit it and finish it off, and this is 3 times that. So
John's got a new dentist appointment, so we got to get him out of here in like 30 minutes. But I do want to actually tell us why you got a new dentist. Before
I got kicked out of the last one.
How's that happen?
how do you get kicked out of a dentist?
Carson's like, what?
Yeah, I would love to hear
Knew
this.
what idiot incoming.
I would have needed to know this as a kid. Yeah, I hated the dentist.
So
Oh boy.
right after COVID, I don't know if it was because of COVID or what, but it must have been hell on dental hygienist or something. So I'd have an appointment, and like, let's say the appointment's today, everything. And I made this appointment 6 months ago. Yesterday rolls around. Hey, sorry, we're calling, but we need to reschedule. Your next one's going to be in 6 months. I didn't even have the last one. So and this kept happening, and they caught me at just the wrong time with the most recent
Funny
one.
how
And
that
I
happens.
gave that lady hell. And through text, I won't do it in person, like on the phone. It's always typing, and it's like free to go, whatever say you want. And it was not nice. And the next text message was, "We're sorry to hear that. Maybe you would be better. We've removed your future appointments. You'd be better served somewhere else," or something like that. And I'm like,
Probably.
did I just get kicked out of the dentist?
You did.
You just got fired from the dentist.
So
Yeah.
I think my dad felt bad for me. He claims that he had the same problem because now he goes to the new dentist too. He didn't cuss him out or anything like I did, but he goes to the new one. And I think he just felt bad for me and wanted me to have like company or something. Yeah.
He left willingly.
So I got to make a good impression on the new dentist and
Gotta
not be
on
late.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you ate a big breakfast this morning too.
Right,
so that
Cracker
should go
Barrel.
over well.
So,
yeah.
yeah.
So I was scrolling on the Twitter pre-race, and I saw a picture of Curtis Polk wearing a sign on the back of his shirt. What was that all about? Did you see it?
I saw it, but I don't know what it was about.
Did you see it?
I know
I
what it's
saw
about,
it.
but I'm not going to talk about it.
I think that's what the shirt was
Well,
about.
yeah.
Not talking about it.
You know,
Yeah.
it's
What
not
was
on
it
your
about?
shirt.
It basically
Not
said, I
me,
can't talk
no
about the
way.
charter, right?
Yeah, that's what it said on the shirt. Yeah.
It said, I can't talk about charters. Are y'all like under a gag order now?
So much for not being on the hot seat anymore.
This one I ain't touching.
Yeah.
Like,
Bro, I don't have Xfinity this week. Don't get me in the holler.
So how are the charter talks going, John? Can you tell us anything?
you just, no. I mean, I'll talk about the dentist.
I wish I had some of that helium or whatever they give you before the dentist. right now.
what
truth serum.
yeah.
Loosen
Laughing
you up
gas.
a little bit. Yeah.
Why are you looking at me? Like,
I mean,
Because you
we
know
didn't have
something.
one for the longest time. Why am I suddenly the charter expert?
so
All right. Well, I'm glad y'all put this topic on here. We talked about it because we didn't get anything out of it. But
I had to get
anyway,
a crash course on it from Freddie before we started.
We had Charter 101 before
Charter
the show
lessons
started.
with Freddie.
What do you think, Freddie?
I love Curtis.
I just think it's awesome that Michael Jordan is a mid-race broadcast giving NBC
Interview.
the nod that you can come interview me. NBC walks over and says, point blank, Michael was nice enough to let us interview him. They ask him some questions. He politely answers. And I'm like, he's arguably the most marketable thing we have right now in all of NASCAR for a younger fan base. And I realize he's older, but I also realize my 12-year-old gets more excited about Michael Jordan being on the broadcast than anybody else. So I think we got a really good thing going, a lot of momentum as a sport. And they better get this charter thing figured out because the clock is ticking.
What I will say, and talk about MJ, the amount of knowledge he has about the sport, and I don't know how long he's had it, if it's just started because he's a part owner now. Like, he'll come in our hauler before the race. We were in Daytona. I was riding around the front with Brett, and I told Brett, you're going to have to hang out a minute. MJ just showed up, and and my hauler that day was MJ and Ken Griffey Jr. I said, there's not often Ken Griffey can get upstage, but he just did.
Yeah.
But, so we're hanging out in there, and we're talking about the race, and he knows every detail of what we're doing, what we're trying to accomplish that night, who we're racing for points, he's mentioning guys that qualified up front that he doesn't think we need to be racing around, and he was absolutely right about those guys. So like the amount that he's
we on that lit?
Yeah, you were. He's like, do you see the 6? Get out of there. But he's so invested and knows every driver in the field, knows every scenario. Like I talked about it on here before. The first time I met him was at Watkins Glen, and he's like, so what we're gonna do? We're gonna flip the first stage for track position and I'm like, did he just say? Like, how does he know this? Being to me, like, it's Michael Jordan, but like, does he know anything about NASCAR? Like, it's almost to me like when we started, you hear this, he's coming in, and it's like, oh, Denny wants to start a team. His buddy Michael wants to be involved. He's kind of just gonna. This is like his golf game. And when you sit down and talk to him, and all the knowledge he has about our sport and how invested he is, it's just super motivating and unbelievable to be a part of.
That's cool.
You're definitely not
always
working on a
wondered,
contract.
like, what that was like.
I actually just got my contract in the email, so I'm definitely not talking any about Curtis right now. I have to look that over when the show's over.
So I guess we're not going to talk about Denny hating spotters.
Well, I mean, we'll see. I don't know what that says yet.
Every time.
I think he should have to go the first 3 races right here in this playoff with no spotters since he hates spotters all of a sudden.
So we were a little off sequence. He did that a little different pit strategy, and he would catch us. And I mean, he was a 0.7 to a second faster when he would get to us, and we would let him go like right away. And I'd be like, Lambert's right in front of me. I'd nudge him every time, be like, hey man, just tell him thanks from that dumbass spotter.
I think Lambert probably tore a rotator cuff because he waved
I know.
all night the other night. I don't know who
was in
he
a
was
parade.
waving to. He
Yeah.
would look like the Queen of England.
He did. He looked like he was in a parade.
Like just waving all night long.
Because he was off sequence from most people, and he'd blow by everybody. He literally every time I quit looking because I'm like, oh, what's wrong? Oh,
Well, he's right
waving
down in
again.
the corner, so you got to look at him in
Yeah.
the turn one, and he's just every time you're like, what? The
Yeah,
and
he
you go,
waves.
Oh.
So he
Anyway.
waved all race.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we will be back with Spot On, Spot Off. You've heard us talk a lot about FanDuel, America's #1 sports book.
Well, we have something a little different for you. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV.
Then, with a YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime.
Just visit FanDuel.com/DBC to download America's #1 sportsbook.
21 plus and present in North Carolina. Full price of NFL Sunday Ticket will be automatically charged seasonally after free trial. No refunds. Terms, restrictions, and embargoes apply. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. All right, Spot On, Spot Off. Several late race decisions had huge impacts on the final playoff standings, but the biggest two were Bubba not taking tires and Ross staying out. Spot On, Spot Off, TJ.
It didn't. I don't know. Where'd you end up?
Oh, we got wrecked. We were
Yeah, that's right.
finished 16th.
Yeah, I
We were
mean,
caught up in
we
that
did the
wreck.
same thing, and I'm spot off because it didn't work out for us that time. We lined up on the last restart, and we had 2 buffer cars behind us, and I'm like, okay, we got the 3 and the 22. They'll split or something. No. And then we line up, and we have the 8 right behind us on tires, and I'm like, yeah, this is not going to go well. So spot off because it really hurt everybody's race.
I cannot understand why Bubba Wallace did not pit. And I'm not a crew chief, and I don't make crew chief money. That's probably why. But I have been to Darlington enough to know, other than the repave year back in the day, Like, you cannot be the first guy on old tires, and you can't be on defense. You got to be on offense. And I knew when Bubba didn't pit and everybody behind him did that he was 100% screwed. I knew when Ross stayed out that was 100% going to make the next restart the most important restart of the night. And it was. And both of those guys making those calls were not going to give themselves a chance to do anything great. I get why Ross kind of did it, but there were too many laps left, and the outcome was not going to be there. So I just thought both of them made the wrong decision.
Yeah, obviously hindsight was once I saw that the entire field behind us pit, except for maybe I think Reddick stayed out, and he might have just stayed out to try to help us. I knew we were pretty much. I was hoping that 3 laps wasn't going to make a huge difference, but we know that place it does. And so that kind of set us back. And like I said, if that put us in position to where the yellow came out. We were running 6th at the time. I think we fell to about 13th or 14th. Yellow came out, then everybody came, so we stayed about 13th, 14th, made up a little ground on the restart, and then that wreck with Josh and Byron and them happened right in front of us. Nowhere to go. Noah, I wanted to say he still hasn't lifted, but apparently in his interview he said he throttled up in the middle of that wreck, which I appreciate him doing that and driving straight through the back of our car. So that was awesome. But that was just kind of the position we put ourselves in with that call, and it's unfortunate that that's the way it went. But I felt like at that point we made a really, really good strategy call before that because it was the way it was playing out, we were not gonna make up the points that we needed. We were gonna be about 5 points out, behind the Buscher. We had kind of fell to 8th or 9th. He was running like 10th or 12th, and that's just the way it was gonna go. Well, when we decided to run long, and they kind of caught them guys out where we had fresh rubber. They pit like in. What happens is you either pit on the front side or you pit on the longer side. If you pit in the middle, you kind of screw yourself where you don't have enough of an advantage on the guys that pit early, but you're at a disadvantage to the guys that went long. So that's when kind of where the 17 ended up. And I thought we put ourselves in a good spot there because we're making up a lot of positions. We restarted at 6th. I think we were even in points without a winner, obviously. And then unfortunately that caution comes out quick. We make the decision to stay out, and it kind of turned our race upside down from there.
John, I want your driver hat on this one. You're the last guy on old tires.
Well, you don't know you're the last guy on old tires.
Well, you do on a restart, which is where I'm going.
Okay.
So you're the last guy on old tires. Everybody behind you is pitted. Your crew chief comes on, a spotter comes on and tell you you're going to be fine.
Darlington?
Bull.
Yeah. Nope. I mean, there's some places and there's some drivers that'll work, but not Darlington. It doesn't matter who's driving. I mean, you're just not going to do it.
You can't do it.
They had that caution lap 2 or whatever. It was when Truex and
Yeah.
And like, if you have to think, do I need to pit now? 2 laps? Imagine being like going long and then being the last car. Yeah, no.
And there was guys that did it, right? I think there's a couple guys that put tires on that.
Yeah, there
caution.
were. Yep.
Speaking of
that, Darlington should become the cutoff race permanently. Spot on, spot off. Brett, I just feel like this is something you might be passionate about.
I love South Carolina, and I love Darlington, and it was bothering me. I love Lee Diffie. I love his broadcast, but he kept saying Darlington. And I'm like, it's Darlington. It's D-A-R, Darlington. Speak redneck for just a minute, Lee. I honestly, God, I mean, I saw Clint Boyer tweet yesterday or the day before that this should be the championship race, and I'm all for it. This race was everything you would want in a race, from surprise pole sitters to wrecks early to strategy later. I mean, it had everything you could possibly want. So should it be the cutoff race over Daytona? I would vote yes, because it was a real race. It had a real race feeling. I mean, we're going into Atlanta. I mean, you think about next year's schedule or whatever, like your Daytona super speedway racing, then Atlanta super speedway racing. I think that helps a team, honestly, like the Wood brothers, to start at a place like Atlanta, because there is a lot of luck involved and not necessarily a lot of speed. You can't.
What makes you think we have good luck? We had it once.
You're on a streak. That's one in a row.
We're gonna win every week, right?
Win every week.
Win them all.
Probably gonna win Atlanta.
For me, I love a real race.
Yeah.
The only reason I'll play devil's advocate is that was a great race. I mean, I think we'll all agree that was a phenomenal finish to that race, the last 50 laps or so. But it only happened because the 77 spun out. If you don't get the cautions that lead to the guys being able to put tires on, and if you get a caution with, even if you just get that caution with 50 to go where Hocevar spins out, you don't get that one 3 laps later, you don't get the drama of guys doing different strategies and different things happening. So yes, while that was a great race, is that going to happen every time? Because if Carson doesn't spin out, we're talking about one of the worst Southern 500s ever, because Kyle Larson's going to lead 300 laps. Yeah. So he was going to kick our asses all night long until something upsets the apple cart and you get a caution, then you get a caution 3 laps later. Now you got guys on different strategies, and it was phenomenal. And I think that race lends itself to guys being desperate and making that decision to where I'm going to definitely put tires on here, because the only way I'm going to get in this playoff is if I win, like Kyle Busch. He was the one that took advantage of it the most. The Daytona, you're always going to have that Game 7 moment. We're all going to be on top of each other coming to the finish line. So that's why I would still favor Daytona over Darlington, because Darlington, they have the unknown of we might just run it out and somebody might lead 300 laps and you're going to be about the race. But, to Brett's point, the way that played out was unbelievable.
Right.
And I'm not sure if you go there in November, it's going to be cooler. Yeah. I'm not sure the race. I'm not.
Well, they're
sure.
talking about the playoff cutoff race, which will be the same time of year.
I guess. Yeah.
That's all you got?
That's good.
Thanks
for coming.
Well,
that's it. I appreciate your insight.
I agree with Freddie.
What? Clip that. Somebody clip that.
He's worried about his car, the dent in the hood.
Yeah.
What do you think,
Not paying
John?
attention.
Yeah. What do you think, John?
I think Daytona will be Daytona, whether it's a cutoff race or it's the third race of the year. People are like, you're going to have Ricky Stenhouse driving like crazy to win. I didn't say it in a bad way.
You're crazy, yeah.
And you'll have the occasional deal like us that was great, whether it's luck or not, whatever. But it doesn't have to be a cutoff race to have that. It's still going to have it.
Right.
So now you've got Darlington that has people trying a little bit harder than they maybe ordinarily would, a little bit more extreme pit calls, whatever. So you've got 2 high intensity races instead of making Daytona that last one.
I'll say this about the 21 team too. You just brought up something. Jeremy, who Freddie, you were talking about earlier, the crew chief, he's got 3 first wins with drivers at the Wood Brothers. Blaney, Cindric, and now Burton. That's pretty cool for a crew chief.
Cindric didn't win.
I'm sorry,
I was struggling with that one.
Cindric was
Penske.
but he was Cindric's crew chief.
Was he Blaney's crew chief?
Yeah.
He was Blaney's crew chief.
Yeah.
So 2 first wins.
And
Your
three
last 2 wins.
overall. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't. I've told Jeremy this, but whenever the decision was made for him to come back and do our car, and they swapped Brian Wilson with him, before the swap happened, I'm thinking, okay, there's three guys over there. It's a 33% chance it's Jeremy. That's good, because that's less than half. So like, hopefully it won't be him, because I felt like if he came back, we would clash. Like, Jeremy just has a strong personality. And so when the decision was made and it was him, I was like, damn it. How am I, like, he's going to be mean to me. And now, like, I just think the world of the guy. Like, it's crazy. Like, he's just a different guy now. And he knows this, so it's not like I'm saying anything that he's going to see.
Right, yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? But, I mean, yeah, I think a lot of Jeremy Bullins. Like, yeah. And he had his first job with me on my Hooters
I didn't
Pro
know
Cup
that.
car. Yeah, my Hooters Pro Cup car. So his first real job out of not high school, college, was with us at Wood Brothers.
Wow.
Yep. Then he went to RCR.
That would have been what, 2000-ish?
2000.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
I was just born.
I graduated high school.
All right. The Indy 500 cost Kyle Larson the regular season championship by literally 1 point. Spot on, spot off, Freddie.
Well, it's hard. You can't argue the fact that it cost him a regular season championship, because he only needed 1 point and he was there. I honestly think the only way this matters is if he doesn't make the Final Four, doesn't transfer out of a round by 12 points, because that's what he potentially forfeited. Gave up 5 points with regular season championship. The way that car was running, he potentially gave up 7 points that night, 2 stage wins. Actually, no, 3 stage wins, so it was be 13 points, whatever it is, and the 5 for winning that race. Do I think he cares? No. Didn't seem like he cared the other night. He talked about the fact that, he could have finished at Michigan. He could have, not wrecked out at certain places, and that would have been the same thing. But, the only way I think it matters is if the team still won the regular season. Is there money for the regular season championship as far as owners' points? I don't even know.
No, not that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the team still won. The 5 team won the regular season owners championship. So, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's really a moot point unless we go somewhere and he doesn't make once he makes the Final Four, nobody gives a
I remember
nobody
that.
cares.
I didn't even know they
Exactly.
had a trophy for that.
Did they have a trophy
do?
for the
It
owners?
was, no, but I mean the
Oh,
driver,
regular
like that
season,
thing was huge.
Yeah,
It's like,
Damn.
Yeah.
when did that start mattering?
I saw a picture of airspeed today. It's a pretty impressive trophy.
Yeah.
Brett, what do you think?
I mean, to me, it cost him 4 points because he got second place points, which is 10 points, or 5 points rather, versus 15 points. You don't know that he's going to get any stage points at the Coke 600 or even 5 points for winning a race, but you do know that he's going to get enough points to project him into the championship, regular season championship. So, I mean, it just came down to a decision that he and Hendrick made, and there's no looking back. And, I mean, even once he got there late, he still wasn't going to get any points for it because he didn't make the start. So it's not that he didn't get a chance to get in the car because of the rain out. But here we are already talking about next year, whether or not he's going to do it again and whether or not they're going to ask this IndyCar driver to come run Mexico City. So I saw some of that stuff over the weekend. But, I mean, what's more important, the Coke 600 or the Indy 500? They picked the Indy 500.
Yeah. TJ, do you care to offer insight on this one, or are you going to go the short route again?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think he cares right now. I think he's going to race for a championship, and it's going to be, if you go out there and do what you're supposed to do, it's going to take care of itself anyway. So if you go out there and win races and you're up front and you get stage points, you're going to run for a championship anyway. So
Period. All right.
John?
John, if it's hard to, so obviously being in the position you're in, if you got a driver, say Josh Berry was going to run the Indy 500 next year, you know, what's your expectation of him if he's in that position? Like, are you expecting him to be back in Charlotte no matter what? Or, I mean, it's obviously a hard spot for everybody.
Was that the original question? Because I wasn't listening.
No, I mean, the question was about
Attention span.
But I'm just saying, we just adjusted a bit because we all agree that Kyle Larson doesn't care about not winning a regular season deal. But like as a team president, would you expect your guy to be back there, or is it something you have to work out beforehand?
I feel like that Indy 500 commitment was like, I use the analogy with like with my oldest kid and the baseball stuff. Like, he's on a travel team. If he played rec ball too, if there's a conflict, the travel team takes priority, like, because it's his main gig. So I feel like the Indy 500 would be extracurricular, and like whatever is needed first with the Coke 600, that would be the priority. That's me, but I see their position in it too, and how you know they could make that argument. But I mean, I'm not in that spot, so I didn't have to worry about it.
Well, the 2025 schedule has been announced. Give us a spot on, spot off of next season's slate of tracks. Mexico City, Larson talking about racing on Easter. I want one of each. TJ, take it away.
sorry.
How much talking did you do the other night? I mean, Jesus.
I don't know. It's bad.
You need a Ricola again? We need Evan to start throwing Ricolas at you?
Those don't do anything.
No, nothing does anything.
You don't have COVID, do you?
I don't like TJ's vibes today.
That's I've had this for
This
20
is every
years.
week.
Yeah.
COVID for 20 years?
Pretty much, yes.
He was the first one.
He brought it here.
Patient zero.
Yeah, I brought it. I don't know. I
Shocker.
I
didn't
can't
really.
believe you said that. You really look at the schedule? I mean,
I looked at the schedule.
Where is the schedule?
Posted online.
Yeah.
The interweb.
Yeah, it's on the internet. It's Brett.
Okay.
It is what I mean.
Give me one thing you like about the
Yeah.
schedule. Anything.
I like the playoffs. I do like the
Okay,
playoffs.
good job.
I
Now, give
like
me one
the
thing you
playoffs.
don't like
The
about
playoffs have been in existence for years.
I don't like. I like the playoff schedule. I like the tracks that are in it. I think it's laid out well. I don't. Maybe too many road courses for my liking, but that ain't gonna change. So
Did any of y'all go to Mexico? I came back with a tattoo.
Where's it
minute.
I'm afraid to ask where.
Yeah, is it on your
I'm
lower
assuming
back?
we're not gonna be able to.
But it involves some stuff I shouldn't have been doing. But point being,
Where's it at? Where's the tattoo?
Lower
at?
back.
It's probably,
Doesn't matter.
Probably
Yeah, it
both.
does. It matters.
Left or right cheek.
Probably the same place. Same place
irrelevant.
mine is.
Freddie has one on his ass. So
Yeah.
What?
it's
I was with Jeremy that night. Actually,
Jeremy Bullins?
we were in Key West.
Oh, but
Oh, that makes sense.
same thing. Mexico City, Key West. Where's your tattoo? I mean, you have to say something.
Well, the tattoo wasn't the point.
Do you think you got a disease from getting
No.
a tattoo in Mexico?
You really
No.
don't want to tell us where it's at, do you?
No, but the tattoo is irrelevant. I was getting to a point. Like, and I don't even remember what the point was.
Mexico City.
Mexico.
Who went?
Have you-
First time to Mexico
have you
City.
ever- did you
I
go?
went.
That was awful, wasn't it?
It was awful.
Like just the
racetrack was awesome.
It's like
the racetrack was amazing.
The experience, the customs, because like we had to stop. The plane had to stop in America
As soon as we crossed back in.
Yes. It was El Paso, I think.
I can't remember that, but I know we had to stop.
Yeah. Like
I remember.
riding the buses. You couldn't leave. If you did leave to get a tattoo, you're on your own. And that sort of thing. So
John is my what an idiot. We don't even have to do it at the end of the show.
I don't think I'm going to go to Mexico.
We got 15 minutes to learn about this tattoo.
Here's what I love about Mexico City, and this is y'all will probably end up having to cut half this out, and I don't really give a
Oh, boy.
Here's what I love about it. The racetrack, when they announce a driver, it sounds like the fans are tearing the stands down. They are waving these massive flags. They are doing these chants.
Standing on their cars, like the tailgates.
It is crazy.
Atmosphere is nuts.
The atmosphere is nuts. And I only went the very first year the Xfinity Series went there. I think that was like 04-ish.
05.
05-ish, okay.
Yeah.
So that is amazing, okay. It's also amazing the amount of money that NASCAR is getting to go down there. They're getting a lot of money, okay. The third thing is we do need to be international. And I was told by a NASCAR representative that we're only allowed 1 points race a year internationally. We can go internationally more, but it can't be a points race but once. So I'm curious if that's a fact. FIA rules or something, I was told. So
I think it might be charter.
Is that what it is?
Well, could you tell us?
Yeah.
I said I ain't talking about charters. See, that was like you baited me on that one. You knew it was.
You baited yourself.
Took it to the back door.
So we can go international once for a points race. Now, why would that matter to a charter? Because it's going to be expensive to go to Mexico City. It's going to be expensive to go to Montreal. It's going to be expensive to go wherever. So I'm all for it on those three facets and diversifying our fan base. I'm all for that. Here's what I don't like. As an American-built sport, I want to see us going to places where Americans can go and know that they're safe. And I know I'm going to catch a lot of from all you people saying, oh, he's back on his Chicago train of where everybody's going to get shot that goes, Mexico City's dangerous. Yeah. And if you don't realize that, then I tell you what, go. Here's a couple stories. I'm not going to tell you any stories, but
just kidding.
Well, I don't want to get in trouble for telling you a story, but the U.S. Embassy told us point blank when we went to Mexico City, don't leave the hotel.
Yeah.
They didn't say don't leave and go get a tattoo, though. They just said don't leave at the hotel.
It's super dangerous. You could come back with a tattoo.
It's going to be it's there are pros and cons to everything. Yeah. That's my cons.
So I didn't go last time, so we'll see.
Good chance you don't come back.
Good chance I come back with a tattoo if I come back. My pros are, to Brett's point, international points race is a big deal. Awesome to see Rockingham back on the schedule. Wish it wasn't Easter weekend. Bowman Gray's a lot closer than Los Angeles for the Clash. I appreciate that. My biggest spot off, first of all, aside from the fact that if you do the Easter weekend, you're spotting 38 weekends in a row, 28 if you're not, but one of my favorite races of the year is off the schedule. There's two of them now this year. Next year, one of them's coming off. Darlington is losing an Xfinity race, which I hate because that is two of my favorite races of the year. I feel like the distance is perfect, the racing's phenomenal, and it's unfortunate to see. And to your point about road courses, somehow the Xfinity Series has more road courses than the Cup Series. They got 7 next year, which I think what do they have? 32 races, 33 races. So I don't understand why they're going to so many road courses. But my biggest thing is Darlington losing that Xfinity race, which I love that race every year.
It used to be Watkins Glen and Sonoma.
Yeah,
and that was it. Mm-hmm. Like that was it. Those are the 2 road courses. And now, I probably can't even name all of them. We go to so many.
We do go to so many. But the Wood brothers probably have more ties to Bowman Gray than any other team, Cup team for sure, that's in existence as of today. How do you feel about the Clash going there?
I have less of a connection to it than my dad does. Like, he is crazy about that place. Like, goes there and watches the modifieds during the summer. So, he's super pumped. Obviously, going from flying to LA to driving an hour to Winston-Salem, that's a plus. no dangers and tattoos and whatnot. But
Well, there's tattoo parlors in Winston-Salem.
I said dangerous.
Freddie originally said when they announced they were going to L.A., because there was a loud contingency of fans going, we got to go to Bowman Gray, not L.A. Freddie said, we can't go to Bowman Gray. We're going to Bowman Gray.
We're going. The reason why I said we couldn't go there is because I never thought we'd have a race that the place only holds 17,000 people. That was the only thing that I thought was going to ever prevent us from going there, and we're going. So I guess we're happy.
I'm really
with
interested to see how it goes infrastructure wise.
I mean, there's just I don't think that you could do anything to add any seating the way the
No.
place is
No,
built.
it is what it is.
You can't bring in.
Are there suites?
No.
No,
I wouldn't even.
There's a
Suites
press
at-
box.
Suites
but
at Bowman Gray.
There's a
I
press.
don't
Suites
think
are
so.
They got a
activations.
bathroom.
Does it have running water?
Yeah, it's nice. I'm just saying it's not like
They built
that.
a nice field house in
Yeah.
the middle of 3 and 4, but I think there is some kind
In
of
the- in that
balcony
field
in the
house
middle of
there
the
is,
corner.
yeah.
But I mean, there's maybe 2 or 3 of them.
Will this be the hardest ticket to get all year?
Yes.
I guarantee it.
See that the optics of that too. A full 17,000 capacity place looks a lot better
100.
than 50,000 where it seats 1 million or whatever
Yeah.
at Bristol.
Yeah.
Like that's
That's what I mean.
way better.
People don't understand that because you thought they were all talking about the Coliseum. Perfect example. It holds over 100,000, I would assume, right? And it's like it's only half full. Let's go to Bowman Gray. And I'm like, well, I don't know if you know math, but 50 is still higher than 17.
Yep.
But the optics of it, like to your point, it looks much better when it's a packed house and people are clawing at the walls to get a ticket of it.
Middle
So-
finger every time. You seen that deal?
man.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think
love
there'll
it.
be will there be any other pre-race shows
There
or
is.
anything?
So Saturday night, actually, Chase Robertson, whose shirt I'm wearing, Mike Robertson, his dad, Chase is a sportsman competitor over there. Basically, looked like their late model class.
Yeah.
If you're watching from home, they're for sure. I think they're running like a 100-lapper the night before. I don't know about the modifieds. I hope they're there the night before.
I feel like you got to run the
They
modified.
have
That's
to.
what
I would
it's-
hope so. Tommy Baldwin had a great idea. Tommy Baldwin said that back in the day we used to race Pocono, and you would race basically a mile, I think it was. You'd race like down the front stretch and then around pit road, basically. It's the track, you can almost see it if you look at a aerial shot of Pocono now, but that was the race of champions. And every track in the country that ran a modified race had a race that was the race of champions qualifier.
Yeah.
And that race always packed out because whoever won that race got a guaranteed spot into the race champions. So Tommy's like, we just need to make that race, the Bowman Gray Saturday night before the Clash race, the new race of champions, where every track in the country that runs modifieds, a smart tour, whatever tour, you have these
come.
qualifying races, and then everybody comes to Bowman Gray to run the one big, where the guys from the north, guys from the south get together, and it's a great idea. The rules for the Bowman Gray modifieds are much different than like the tour type modifieds. But it'd be awesome to see that event just pick up steam as well.
I think it's cool because you're going to have a lot of industry people there. Just like, Florence, there was a lot of industry people that went down there and watched the late model race. And I think you have the same effect here. I've never been to Bowman Gray, never been there. So I think it would be cool to see a modified race there, and having an event together opens the door for that.
How many cars can you safely put on that racetrack?
Well, I mean, back in the day, K&N, we used to
2.
run safely one. Safely is
One.
one. One is safely.
Is it Burt Myers and Tim Brown, or are we talking like?
I saw Tim Brown's son is a big baseball player. I
Oh.
saw him at the batting cages the other day. He's huge. Anyway,
Can we just all agree right now that if that does happen, that we get LW back in a modified?
Lethal Weapon?
The lethal weapon.
The lethal weapon.
Yeah. I mean, I had many fights at LW and Georgie Runhuzzle back in the day.
The list of people that have had fights with LW is long.
Yeah, I was going to
I
say
think
there's
he's
a
been
lot.
kicked out of every racetrack we've been to with Wyatt and Wyatt's racing careers.
That's probably accurate. I would say, Brett, it's like we had at Coliseum, probably mid-20, 20 cars. You could.
will we see shenanigans that Bowman Gray typically
course.
produces?
Yeah, because you got to lift
You
for
have
the
to.
corner and you can drive through each other pretty easily. So there'll be some shenanigans.
I hope they have Bowman
For
Gray style
sure.
brawls too.
That'll be fun.
All right, John, I know you
We
got to
gotta
go
get
get your
John.
teeth cleaned.
I got 6 minutes.
Let us know how your new dentist is. Be nice to them.
Yeah, don't get thrown out. There's not that many around.
You gonna stick around for a couple reaction theater calls before you leave?
Yeah, whatever
You
you,
want to
gotta
listen
do.
to a call?
All right.
All right.
All right.
Let's do it.
Let's get into reaction theater.
Now it's time for our favorite segment, Reaction Theater, where it's your turn to be heard. Reaction Theater is brought to you every week by Consumer Cellular.
Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable, nationwide coverage as leading carriers, but with plans starting as low as $20 a month.
And now for a limited time, get their best deal of the year. Buy any phone when you switch to Consumer Cellular and get 2 months of free service. That's right. The same fast, reliable, nationwide coverage as Big Wireless, now with 2 months free. proof the best things in life do come in twos. See consumercellular.com for promotional details. Jay, let's go to the calls.
Man, Tyler Reddick pants and throwing up all over his car. I just got back from brewery. I'm doing the same thing. Congrats, Chase Briscoe. Let's go chase out the playoffs. Freddie. Woo! Freddie, you're fat as holla.
Semi-accurate.
Ain't no way there's a crowd of people standing around stinky-ass Tyler Reddick right now after he got out of that car. Hey, do you think MJ gives him his own shoe, but they call it the Dump Man instead of the Jump Man?
There's your next T-shirt.
I mean, my dog was sniffing the TV after she heard that Tyler Reddick pooped his pants, and he still won the regular season championship. I guess I need to start dragging my ass on the ground so Kyle Larson will actually get to the Final Four. And if he gets to the Final Four, you know what I'm going to do? I might poop my pants and drag my ass on the ground.
Jesus.
Just for luck. Go Five.
Congratulations to Tyler Reddick. 1 season championship and 2 Darlington stripes.
2 Darlington stripes.
It's 3 a.m. I'm just staring at my ceiling. I honestly believe Tyler Reddick his pants. I know in the interview after the race he said he didn't. But most people that their pants will say that they didn't.
Fair.
Hell yeah. Reddick, regular season champ. This phone calls for my buddy Ray. He's a Chase sexual. Still don't know how that guy gets year after year fan favorite. I don't get it. Go Reddick.
Chase sexually?
Chase sexual?
Oh.
I've never.
So according,
what does that mean?
I haven't talked to Tyler yet. But apparently his interview, he said he did not his pants.
He his pants.
I mean, there's one point he said he wanted to and he couldn't because of all the medicine he took to make him stop. Imodium, but yes,
that's double clog a sink.
Did he? So he shipped his pants. Remember that
Shipped his
commercial?
pants. Shipped my pants.
You ship your pants?
Well, they reported he puked.
He said it, I think, on the radio. He said I was and puking on myself.
There's nothing worse than
Poor
throwing up in a
Napier.
helmet.
So
Napier's his interior guy. I feel bad for him.
Elliott was sick one time in Texas, an Xfinity car for Joe Gibbs Racing, and we had Clint Boyer on standby who was driving for Michael Waltrip Racing at Toyota. And Clint texted me during the first little run. He's like, "I'm telling you right now, if Elliott pukes in that car, I'm not getting in it." Would you have gotten in a car with puke or shit in it?
No.
we gotta get this out of the way before you leave for your dentist appointment.
Have you ever had to puke
you
while
that?
you were driving?
Or head?
I was embarrassed enough when I pissed in my fire suit one time. Like that was bad, and that like dries up, and there's plausible deniability because like you could just
sweat.
I don't know what that stink is, but like a turd. No,
You can't hide that.
No, that's
You can't hide that.
But if somebody in the seat, would you get in the car and drive it?
No. Would you?
I don't think it's getting through the fire.
I'm asking a former driver. I never had to drive.
I don't think it's getting through the fire suit.
I mean, it depends on what kind of. I mean,
that's what I was on the floorboard.
Yeah, no. I mean, but like,
I'd imagine if you're that sick, it's not gonna be solid.
It's not a solid turd that we're talking about with him. It's
No.
it's diarrhea turd.
Yeah.
Like runny turd.
Yeah, it's like you're teething, having a baby turd, like honey mustard.
Yeah. Like when you're sick like that, it just goes everywhere.
That
I'm
has
about
to
to
be
puke on
terrible.
myself.
And now if you don't change a diaper in a decent amount of time, how bad that gets. You imagine running 367 laps like that?
Because
And
it
hot
was
as
at the
hell.
beginning. It was at the beginning too. And hot.
That's got a still itch today.
Oh my God. Stop it. Stop.
All right.
Can we move on?
Well, yeah, hurry. Yeah, please, next call.
I'm going to throw up.
Well, boys, it started off as a pretty decent day. Sat down, gonna have some dinner with my Martin Truex shirt on. Look up, and what do I see? I thought I saw something, but I didn't really see it. And then all of a sudden, I heard that Australian British guy say, "Oh, I crank it! That's a booger of bad luck right there." And then I look up, and it's Martin Truex in the warm lap too. Well, if anybody needs me, I'll be in the bathtub plugging my toaster in. Holla.
Is that the same guy that called about
Yeah,
Busch?
here, Martin Truex Jr. fan. I know the race is still going, but
Sounds like
man,
Kraus.
I'm going to need a lot of drinks to get over this race. Oh, it's depressing. I had to tear off my shirt and put on my Brad Keselowski shirt because I am not wanting to wear a shirt for a guy who likes to choke on lap 3. And
This guy sounds exactly like Derek Kraus.
I don't know. He drives like me whenever I hit an ice patch because I wasn't thinking.
If anybody wants this garbage ass Truex, you can have it. You got to come over to my island and come grab it, though. I will say, with all that being said, I'm going to give you my 4 drivers to get eliminated in the first round. Truex, because he's a skunk-ass bum. Briscoe, Burton, and Cindric. Why? Because they're dog water. They make dog water actually look really good. They're worse than dog water. Them, Truex, and I like Truex. I really do.
I can tell.
But him, because he wrecked Blaney. So if you excuse me now, I'm going to go take a bath to the toaster.
Another toaster bath.
Everybody's toaster bathing this week. Whew.
Jeez.
We're not going to have any listeners next week. Dog water. I mean, dog water got dragged through the mud there a little bit. I mean,
Dog water. I use that insult.
That was definitely Derek
quite
Krause in the
frequently.
middle of that. I don't know.
100%. You won't convince me otherwise. I'm calling him after this and asking why he called into reaction.
Truex gave
theater.
himself one idiot this week. Did you see that in his interview? Yeah.
Right, he did it on the radio.
Here
right
was
after
the worst part about him and Blaney both wrecking that early is they had to stay for the whole race because they take a picture for the playoff. So you had to sit there for 4 hours.
And it's even worse because...
So if I were them two, I would have went and just got hammered.
And then come back for the photo.
It's even worse because, like, if you were in Daytona, you'd had to wait on the plane anyway. Or Martin probably wouldn't. But now, like Darlington, you're a couple hours. You could have drove home and been home before the end of the race, and you're...
Jeez.
I saw him do that, and I was like, man, those two are screwed.
John, you got to get out of here.
Yeah.
All right, man.
I gotta go to Dennis.
Yeah, don't be late. We don't want to ruin this for you.
Are you gonna post your tattoo on social media for all the followers?
The problem is it implicates other people in this business.
Okay.
And so, like, I swore I would keep that.
Is this a
quiet.
picture? Is it words? What I mean,
It's a little bit of all of it. But
So how many people do we talk?
Is it a portrait?
No, it's
Yeah.
not. I just, again, it's like the charter thing is here on the level of keep it quiet. Tattoo's here.
Tattoo's higher.
We'll make you a deal then. Which
But
one
at
would you
least
rather
tell
give
us
us the inside on?
At least tell us how many people are affiliated, because I think some of them will come up to me and be like, man, I'm part of the coup.
Yeah, probably 10.
Oh, wow. That's way more than I would have thought. I thought
Yeah.
like 3 or something.
I was thinking
We
like
got to do
3 or
some
4.
research.
I think before,
Are these matching tattoos? Like, is there other people with the same
Are there-
tattoo?
yeah.
Only maybe
And-
one. But but like the. See? You're going to pull it out of me, and I'm going to give you too many details.
Oh, we're going full
Are there
blown
10
FBI.
people with tattoos? Or
yeah.
No, there's
Could-
not.
Could you look down at it, or did you have to look behind you to see it?
That's what she said.
What difference does it make? Like, if it's on my ass, if it's on my forehead, what difference is it? The point is, be careful.
In
Watch
Mexico.
what you're doing in Mexico.
if it was on his ass cheek, he would have told us already.
Yeah, you're right.
Maybe. Congratulations again. I do mean that as much as it did screw us over. I am truly happy for you guys, and you guys earned every bit of it.
Oh, we appreciate you stopping by. Next year, don't schedule a dentist appointment so you stay for the whole thing.
That's an hour and a half or 2 hours, though, that I got to replay and say, did I say this that I'm going to get a call about? Did I say that? Because I think I'm clean.
I think you're good.
So your dad, the first time you came on here last year or 2 years ago, he was like, man, I don't know about John coming on y'all's podcast. Y'all say some crazy stuff. Like, I love it, but I don't want John to get in trouble. I think you did fine.
He does, but now he called me when I was on the way here. He didn't know I was coming, and he's like, "What are you doing?" So I'm going to door bumper clear. Oh, I like them guys, especially Brett. Tell him I said hey, and I'm waiting on him to say,
But
don't f this up. but he didn't. So
that's good.
It's the time when he doesn't say that I'm worried.
Yeah.
Because it's like
Yeah.
I got all the confidence in the world now. I got free reign.
Yeah.
Let's go.
now here we go.
Yeah,
But
that's
I
good. He's
tried to
building.
Didn't show him a tattoo.
I'll build a solid rapport with your new dental hygienist
I will.
for all of
Yeah.
us.
I'll let it happen.
We good.
All right.
All
We'll
right.
see
All
you,
right.
brother.
Appreciate
All
you.
right.
Thanks, man.
Cheers.
Well, it's great to have John join us today. Let's get back into some more.
Good job, Casey.
God. I'm so sick of you today. I'm so sick of you.
It's
She
getting
actually says
right.
that every week.
We're getting right back to normal.
Anyways,
We are right back on par.
None of that's coming out, by the way.
I know. I would
None of
leave
it's
it all
coming
in.
out. It's all staying in.
oh, you're gonna pass out? Thank God. Maybe
Here
it'll
we go.
shut you
Why are
up.
you so red?
Maybe it'll shut you up.
Face matches your
Hot in here.
All right, Brett's a little flustered. It was great to have John with us today, and we're gonna get back into some more reaction theater calls.
NBC is knocking it out of the park. From your staff, your commentators, your music, everything. Don't change. This is working.
your staff, your commentators, your editing, your production, whoever's doing it, they're doing what they're supposed to do. This is what's going to move us forward.
So what really grinds my gears is, why am I watching a commercial about the playoffs while I'm watching the playoffs? How about use that commercial slot just to put the race back on? I'm already watching it. You're not drawing me in to watch it. The race is on the TV. Like, just turn the race back on. Take whatever slot that is and do away with it.
Please tell me why we are in the last stage. 70 laps to go and they go to a full screen commercial. Did they not learn anything from last week? Last week was beautiful. He never left the track. And now you pull this I don't understand television. It makes no sense.
Let me explain it to you. The way they stay on television is
selling commercials.
God, and 70 to go doesn't seem exactly
like that's forever.
We're still 3 pit stops away from the
end.
And is your life really going to end if you miss that?
I mean,
probably not.
We have some greedy fans. Good Lord.
Well, that's what happens when you get it's a double-edged sword where you give them a commercial-free race last week, and then you come back to standard commercials this week. You know, you're helping them one time, but now you've set an expectation that you might not be able to live up to.
My only struggle with the broadcast, and I actually text Jeff Burton during the show, was they had the On the Bubble displayed the entire night. They never had the championship battle displayed to where you knew the gap from first to second to third, which we knew 3 guys coming in were in contention. Obviously, Chase Elliott wasn't very competitive, but
for most of the night, it was
I
the same
wanted
guy.
to see the numbers, and they didn't show it when they started really racing and get backmired in traffic.
You know how to avoid commercials? Let's go to the damn race.
Yeah, there's no commercials there.
No commercials.
Well, boys, I think you're rubbing off on old Jesse Love. Brett, don't laugh at that. This man just said phenomenal on the air. What have you done to this poor kid?
Phenomenal's a great word. It's a phenomenal word, actually.
Is your contract phenomenal?
I haven't read it yet. I seen him and Zilich rolling through McBee. McBee. And I could tell they were going well over 17 miles an hour, so they were playing with fire right there. But it's nice to see them. Connor driving Jesse home after a long day at Darlington.
So on the way back, we got 15 minutes from the track, 20 minutes from the track, and then it stormed the entire
the whole ride home.
Yeah, we got rocked at the lake.
I was on the phone with Brett, and I was like, I stopped at the one red light in Pageland, and I'm like, I'm in a hurricane in Pageland right now.
I couldn't believe it.
Hey, Brett, have you been mentoring Sam Mayer? That self-spin didn't convince anybody. Well, maybe Jeff Burton. I think Jeff Burton was the only one that fell for that. But, yeah, you might want to let TJ or Freddie mentor him on how to do that. Freddie's guys was a little bit more convincing, and I don't know, TJ maybe he could get away with it.
I don't know what happened.
Sam spun out on purpose trying to bring out a caution, but he did it so well that he pointed it right back in the right direction, and there was no caution.
Yeah, 1 and 2.
Yeah, because he got a flat really early on, and he was fast, man. And
do you know, if without looking, I don't know if we even have it in front of us, do you know where Sam Mayer is in points?
Dude, I'm going to say 6th.
He's like 13th.
Wow.
It's
all or nothing.
Yeah.
He's had a lot of wrecks.
Like, I mean, like to your point, I would have said the same thing. Like the other day I looked, and Justin I think Sammy passed Ryan Sieg this week for 10th, but before that, Justin was the point leader, and he was the only JRM car in the top 10 in points. Yeah. You know, the Mayer's got to win, so he's in the playoffs. Sammy's battling with Sieg for a spot, and Brandon Jones is in a must-win. He's about 130 something out, but like, you know, those are just guys you think, oh, they're all in the top 10, they're all gonna make the playoffs, and right now they're in bad shape. But Sam, I was looking at the other day because I saw where the other two were, and I'm like, where's Mayer at in points? And I was like, holy like. I would have thought the same thing, like top 5, top 6, because he's got speed every week. Just has a lot of bad luck, apparently.
2 weeks in a row, these mother have us, and these winners come out of nowhere. Like, where the did Harrison come from? Where the did Briscoe come from? And Bubba gets wrecked because Barry's acting like a fool. God bless America.
Big fan right there. That was not me.
Thanks for calling, John.
Yeah, John's in Villa Roma on the phone. Whatever. I mean, like I said, Briscoe deserves every bit of that. And Harrison, the plate race, he did what he had to do. And it's not, like I said, it's just the way it goes. Sometimes we weren't good enough to win a race, and this is a year where we need to be.
How that old driver, that 14, baby. It's been a tough year for him, and just
see him win at Darlington is just amazing. Go 14, and also you, Kyle Busch.
Oh, Denny's great, sure. Yeah, let's just wreck the field so Bubba doesn't make the playoffs. But great, Denny's great. We know Denny's awesome. Denny can do no wrong. But what the is that bullshit? He cost his driver a spot in the playoffs. I don't know anymore. This sport. Bubba had a great race, great game plan, but no, his owner has to send it 3 wide on 4 people and wreck the field. Denny.
I don't know that you can go 3 wide on 4 people. And listen.
Maybe he meant 4 different times.
Denny is great, by the way. I think we'll see here in a minute. But I thought, and I don't think anybody was really. I'm not blaming anybody for that wreck in 1 and 2. It's the end of the race. Everybody's racing hard. If there's any fault, Josh, I think squeezes. I think was it Ty in the fence. I don't think Denny runs into Josh at all. It's just a racing deal, though. It's not Josh's fault. Everybody's just going for it at the end. We get collective. If I'm going to blame anybody for anything, that is Noah for running through the back of us wide open. It seemed like, but it's just a racing deal at the end of the race.
3 wide there is a risk.
Yeah, and listen, Josh. I mean, if there's any blame and it's Josh's, I'm not blaming him because he's got to win just as much as anybody else does. So go for it.
Consumer Cellular is the official wireless partner of Brad Keselowski, RFK Racing, and the 6 Car. If they can count on Consumer Cellular, you can too.
Brad Keselowski and RFK Racing know speed, and that's just what you get with Consumer Cellular.
Have you seen Brad's Consumer Cellular convertible? A symbol of savings, you might say. That thing is awesome.
Consumer Cellular has award-winning 100% U.S.-based customer service center, so you can always get the help you need. It's like having your pit crew right there when you need them.
Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable, nationwide coverage as leading carriers, but with plans starting as low as $20 a month.
There are no activation fees and no contracts. Consumer Cellular customers stay because they want to, not because they have to. They don't need to trap their customers.
You can even try Consumer Cellular for 30 days risk-free. If you don't love it, cancel it, but they bet you'll love it. And now, for a limited time, get their best deal of the year. Buy any phone when you switch to Consumer Cellular and get 2 months of service free. That's right, the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage as Big Wireless, now with 2 months free. Proof the best things in life really do come in 2. See ConsumerCellular.com for promotional details.
Well, that's all for Reaction Theater. And to leave an audio message 24/7, you can call our number 704-802-9572, and we'll play the best ones each week on the show. All right. You can send in your questions on X each week using hashtag AskDBC, and we'll answer the best ones. Tilden Carter asks, how common is it for drivers to not make any money during a season, referencing Sheldon Creed's comments after the Xfinity race at Darlington? I can't wait.
Manager Brett, have you ever had a driver not make any money during the season?
No.
Do you believe he's not making any money during the season?
Yes.
How does he live?
Must be
I know that I have bills to pay every
obviously
month.
There's family money there paying him. But yeah.
Just
imagine being the worst spotter in the Xfinity Series and you're making more money than Sheldon Creed.
The lowest paid, whoever the lowest paid worst.
The lowest paid spotter, unless Sheldon starts winning races. If Sheldon wins, Sheldon gets paid. He left that part out. So those second place finishes.
Well, he ain't never going to win. I've determined that.
Those second place finishes they got to be eating away at you.
I mean, I don't know what he's done to the racing gods of the world, but this poor bastard is never going to win a race.
I mean, I've not seen his contract, but surely there's a win bonus in there. Got to be.
You know what I'm getting the vibe of, and because listen, he's fast. They've had a lot of engine issues this year. He's been fast, and it would not surprise me in the slightest bit that he goes out like Daniel Hemrick did and makes that Final Four, and his only win of the year is at Phoenix because he won the truck championship there a few years back by winning the race, I believe. That wouldn't surprise me at all because they're fast and they're in contention about every week, and that wouldn't surprise me.
In this format, you only have to win one lap to win the whole thing.
Daniel Batson says, at the beginning of the year, Ford was left for dead. Fast forward, and they've got the most cars in the playoffs of any manufacturer. Is it now Ford versus the field? Brett.
Listen, they got as good a shot as anybody now. I mean, the reality is, though, they don't have a ton of drivers with a lot of playoff points. You're looking at Kyle Larson with 40, Bell with 32, Reddick with 28, Byron with 22. The first Ford is Blaney. He has 18. Harrison Burton is actually tied for 12th in points based on how many playoff points they have. He's ahead of Truex and Ty Gibbs in terms of playoff points. So I think Ford's going to have to really get hot in order to establish themselves as a Final Four team, because they don't have all these playoff points they're sitting on. Those top 3 guys, especially Larson, he could not show up to a race and still make the second round.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, you say they got to get hot. That's what they did last year. And if Ryan, if Joey, if those guys get to Phoenix, they've shown
they're stupid fast.
Yeah, Ryan's been stupid fast at all these flat miles. Like Ryan and Bell, I think, have been the class of the field at the Phoenix, the Richmond, or not the Richmond, but the Gateway. Those guys, even Richmond, they've been the class of the field. So if they can get there, they've got as good a shot as anybody. But to your point, a lot of the Fords that have made it, they made up the field. Harrison, Cindric, Briscoe would probably be among the first 3 out. For just about everybody, I think. As they got numbers, but sometimes it's quality over quantity. TJ, you want to talk about that at all, or you just skip the Ford question?
I mean, I do remember the beginning of the year, and I do remember telling Brett to chill and just give it some time. I do think the last few guys in here, it's gonna be a stretch for them guys to have really solid playoff runs. I do think there are, like Freddie said, there are some Fords that could get hot. I know that Joey can get hot. Blaney can get hot. There's Brad, super consistent. So I feel like, I still feel like we have a good shot at it. You just can't, obviously we don't have the buffer for any mistakes, but if you go out there and have solid top 5 runs and you're in that spot, I've been in a position before where we were the underdog the whole time and we win Martinsville and still the underdog, and then we go in there and win the championship. So anything can happen. And there's some of them guys that you're going to say are the championship favorites tend to make some mistakes. So when they make the mistakes, the others have to capitalize.
8th place on back cannot have a bad first 2 races right here. They won't make the second round.
Yeah. Trevor Plummer asks, what implications does the 14's win have on the sold charters for next season?
That one became a lot more valuable. I don't know if it's already sold.
Potentially more valuable.
What do you mean?
Well, some of the bottom half owners of charters want every charter to be valued the same.
Oh, yeah. That's
so
true.
Is that going to be
by the old standard, which to your point, Adam Stern just tweeted, NASCAR hopes to reach an agreement on new governing charter system with its premier series this week to avoid having talks spill over into the playoffs. Playoffs obviously start this week, so they're hoping. I don't know if they're hoping or suggesting. They can always be hopeful, but be interested to see if that gets done. But yeah, to your point, the way it's at now, the 14 charter just became much more valuable than the other 3 charters over there. That might change tomorrow, but it's interesting. It would be interesting to know if that charter is already sold. If it's one that we don't have the answer to that yet. I don't think. But somebody's either real happy or real upset today about that charter system.
All right, fellas, who wins this week's What an Idiot Award? Who wants to go first?
I think we gave out a few during the show.
We gave out a lot
we've been handing them out all day.
Yeah.
Do you have any you want to give out this week? I mean,
you're smiling.
That means she does.
No, she doesn't.
I don't think you're smiling because you like us.
Well, I don't want to get cut off because it's my dad. Because my damn motor wouldn't run all weekend.
Oh,
I'm sick of. He's fired. Love him, but
Carson raced at Casey's favorite track, Millbridge, last night, and did not have a phenomenal weekend.
Did not have a fun time.
Broke leading, right?
I broke leading Saturday, flipped my ass off on the first lap last night, and then blew up after I pushed back out from the hot pit. So we were having fun. We changed ignitions, fuel pumps, fuel lines. I mean, all sorts of stuff all weekend just because we were having gremlins and we still couldn't figure it out. So Jimbo's fired.
Jimbo's fired.
Was he in town?
Yeah. He's still here.
Is he?
Yeah.
I love Jimmy Elledge. Freddie, you got one?
Yeah, of course I do. I got 16 if I wanted to. Well, we saw that one guy. I got to post that video. Rich Keeter sent it to me and Brett. Did you see this guy? He's hooked. They got a sprint car hooked to the back of a tow truck, and he's sitting with his legs off the back of the tow truck as like just sitting there.
No, it hit him.
And this thing swings around and hits him exactly where you wouldn't want to get hit by anything, let alone a sprint car.
Yeah.
So he goes down for the count. But my one idiot of the weekend is whoever spelt Joey Logano's name wrong on the Southern 500 trophy. Did you see that?
Oh, I did not.
Everybody, the Southern 500 trophy has a picture of everybody that's won the Southern 500 with their name below it.
No.
And they spelled Joey.
Was it on Kerry Tharp's watch?
I don't know. I hope not. Somebody had sent me the picture, but it's LAGANO or something like that.
Oh, no.
So whoever that is, hopefully
TJ
we
hates
get
to hear
fixed.
that.
I wrote Connor Hall's
It was
name.
TJ. Probably did it.
Yeah, man.
Were you spotting? When did he win the fight? Were you
It
spotting?
worked.
Were you spotting? When did he win the fight? I don't know. I don't remember when that was.
No, he won it last year, the year before, didn't he?
I don't know.
Year before.
Oh yeah, when him and Byron got into it. That's right.
I wrote Connor Hall's name on a check once wrong this year, and I'll never forget
Connor
it.
Hall. How'd you? Would you spell
I did
like,
ER instead of OR, and of all places, it was Langley.
Langley, of course
Yeah,
it was.
It was.
Who you got?
You're writing checks these days?
Big ones. The big.
The bit like the
the PR checks.
the ones that go in victory lane.
Yeah.
I don't know if I really have one. I mean, I could go for Brett's football team, the whole team.
Well, they still won at least.
I mean, they're going to give Brett a heart attack at some point. So your blood pressure definitely goes up.
Yeah.
I give John one. We give John one an idiot as well.
I already gave one.
For getting kicked out of the dentist.
I gave Lee Diffie
No,
one an
my
idiot.
brother-
his
my
brother
Darlington.
John.
No, I'm
Well,
talking
here,
about my brother.
Darlington.
Oh, other
I'm talking about
John.
my brother John.
Oh, John. Oh, did you not tell him last week he was missing?
No.
that wasn't even what I was talking about. But I'm talking about his gambling prowess last night
Yeah.
Did he lose?
John could have won $2,000
on a $10 bet.
if he had stuck with his Boston College money line bet. But he pulled his bet back for a $200 payout. And Boston College destroyed Florida State.
Yeah, I couldn't. I had to look twice at the score.
Oh, it destroyed them the whole game.
Who you calling an idiot?
Lee Diffie, Jon
so
Wood.
you're done.
Yeah, I've already gone through a bunch of idiots.
Gotcha.
You
All
know,
these people whining about Harrison Burton making the playoff. He's tied for 12th in points. What are you crying about?
Yeah.
Can we
Went from the outhouse to the penthouse real quick.
Holla.
One thing I think that maybe, I don't know if it's what an idiot, but that maybe could be looked at before we get back there is the amount of bees that fly around Darlington.
Why
up
don't
there.
Let me tell you
Okay,
something.
well, while
They
we're
do
on
once
that,
we get there.
the gnats at Florence as well.
Well, let me tell you something. Brandon McReynolds is not a fan of bees, like real bad. I don't know if he's allergic. And every time we sit, I go down. Usually, I'll go down and sit in the
Yeah.
grandstands there between practices.
Oh,
or
they're
whatever.
all over.
And I'm telling you, they're everywhere.
I got stung last year, just
Did you?
random. Lambert got stung.
This week?
Yeah, I looked down there and he said
that's
he
probably why I was waving so much.
Wait, I think I have a second idiot, and it's actually real.
Oh,
Spencer Davis, because he almost ran me over in victory lane this weekend.
Spencer Davis can be.
He left the car in gear and the ignition switch on, and he went to get out to celebrate, and there went the car, and there I was leaned against the left front with confetti.
So that's. I mean, you're doubling up. You're getting like me on here, just doubling up one idiot.
Two idiots.
How about wasn't one idiot, but I mean, what a coincidence that poor Parker Retzlaff's car just shut off the second he went green this week.
RC hit the switch.
The internet shut his right down.
Starlink went down.
Kyle Busch had the most phenomenal comments on that. And it was, we have a key partner meeting and we have a game plan, and he wasn't invited to the meeting.
Yeah.
So how can we expect him to have, or how can we expect ourselves to have an expectation of this guy when he didn't come to the meeting?
I got to give
TJ's nodding.
I just think it's ridiculous that the kid's just like
trying to win a race.
His sponsors paid for that race. They pay to get stuff, and then he doesn't pay to follow.
I think where people got upset is RCR helps put that car together, and I don't know that that's the right words, but they obviously build the engine, ECR engine, and so I understand the narrative that came into that.
I built your engine. Does that mean you have to follow me?
Kyle's quotes solves everything.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just look at that right there, then
It's shout out to Kyle also for being upset with 30 Mo Media again.
Andrew Wynn, what an idiot for replying.
I mean, Andrew, whoever that was, I don't know, was it Evan or Andrew? Somebody took a picture of him on pit road. Kyle standing next to his car, had a very generic Kyle Busch defeated, didn't make the playoffs.
But it was like the wild world of sports video from back in the day that we used to watch, where all the bad things happen, and you're like, the agony of defeat.
Yeah.
It was an agony of defeat.
That's exactly what it was. And
Capture.
Kyle got upset about it. And then Andrew's apologizing for no reason whatsoever. I would have told him to get.
I'll tell you
did I
what,
miss this? What did I miss?
I'm confused. Yeah, what did I miss?
It's
What
on
happened?
Twitter. They took a picture. Dirty Mo posted a picture of Kyle, like getting out of his car, and he's just lost the race, whatever. And it just
Yeah.
says like defeat for Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch misses the playoffs. That's it. Nothing. And
Yeah.
Kyle responded and said something like, "Was it like this a hate tweet or something?"
He said hate post,
hate
question
post
mark.
with a question mark. What? You must not get a lot of hate posts, buddy. I'll show you some hate posts.
I just sent it to you and TJ so y'all can see it. But I will say, man, when that restart happened and Kyle Busch got to second so fast, I thought it was over. I thought he was going to beat Briscoe.
When he went by us and then about him at 1 and 2, I was like,
Randall called that race the only way that they were going to have a shot at it. Just every time the yellow come out, come down here, put tires on it. Don't matter where you're running, because they were in the top 5. They had drove.
They were not good.
They were probably 10th. They were right behind us at that first when we stayed out. They were probably right behind us. They might have been the first one to come. They drove up to the top 5, got to the top 5, everybody pit. Then he was still in the top 5. We had another quick caution. He came again when some of the guys stayed out.
Yeah.
And he just kept putting tires on and put himself in position. That was his only shot. And
Stage 1 was an 18th-ish place car and have a chance to win.
When he got to second, I was like, oh, maybe he'll get up there and win. Then I was like, wait a minute. He doesn't have a win either. Yeah. So I was like, this ain't going to solve
19 years, consecutive years, he's won at least one race. Will he win before the year's over?
I don't see it now.
Well, it just got way harder
because everybody's going to be loaded for bear. Bringing their best now, most cheated up, whatever they got.
People are cheating,
allegedly. But yeah, I mean, you saw getting close to the playoffs. Some guys magically found speed, a lot of speed. So it's just that's the way the playoffs, the nature of the beast. But yeah, I think it'll be difficult for him now.
All right, DBC picks. Let's get into it.
God, I could have picked Chase Briscoe. It wouldn't matter who I picked.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda.
Casey picks first. She's going with Kyle Busch.
God. Are you me?
Is that who you were going to pick?
Yeah, the guy he finished third there last time.
I was actually probably going to win this pick if it just finishes with Gilling because he was fast.
Really?
Well, he was.
My guy was his pants all day.
Casey's not even here, and she's pissing me off.
Who goes next? TJ? No, Brett.
No, Brett
we should make a rule. You got to pick a playoff driver.
No.
Yeah,
I don't know who I want now. Son of a. I had just knew I was going to get my guy.
Who'd she pick? Reddick?
Busch.
Oh,
Kurt.
Oh man.
Harry.
I had no idea Casey liked Busch.
You can't say that. You can't say that, Carson.
What did she say?
They both said it at the same time. I think we got
Harry. What did she say?
Harry.
I won't repeat what Brett said. Next thing, go ahead, Brett. Who you got?
Oh man, Blaney should have won this race last time. If there's a place Austin Cindric's going to be good, it's probably here. Man, I know I'm usually the fastest picker ever.
Fastest picker ever.
There's 10 races left. You got a lot of picks.
I know. Corey LaJoy.
After all that we talked about him.
I didn't talk any about him. I'm not the person who showed me the Chili's picture of him bartending. That was another person on this show.
A Chili's margarita would be great right now.
Yes.
That's a tough picture. I don't know how you let your PR people take that picture. No, I don't go yet.
He's a chili head. I was a chili head.
I was at Chili's. So I go to Notre Dame watch the Notre Dame game with Doug at Chili's in where the we stay, Florence. And we're sitting there.
And you didn't even come see us.
Apple Annie's.
Well, I was there Saturday, not Friday. So 10 o'clock, they close. It's halftime of the game. They're like, all right, we're last call. I'm like,
what?
Huh? Wait, what? Now we had to find some other random ass bar to go to. That was something else. If you ever go to the Dizzy Crab in Florence, let me know.
I almost went there. It says it's supposed to be open until 2 a.m.
Oh, it is. I promise you. Every minute of it.
I shall return next year. I went to a gross strip club while we were in Florence.
Oh, there's a bad one.
Did you think there was going to be a good strip club?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, it's bad.
Wait. You went.
Yeah, it's bad.
TJ, everybody's allowed to go.
Yeah, I mean, it's a free country.
It's actually free.
I'm just saying,
of the time,
it's actually more fun when you go and you're a girl because you don't get haggled and spend a bunch of money.
As usually you don't have a cover charge.
Yeah. You're just living life in there.
I will go with.
So if I dress as a chase sexual, I get in free.
Chase sexual.
I'm really. I'm gonna go with Ty Gillen.
That's a good pick. I'll take Joey Logano.
There you have it.
I hope you win the race. That'll be big for Joey to make round 2.
Yeah. You hope. Why do you hope that?
I just think it'd be big for the sport. We need big names going forward.
Is this? Well, I guess we'll get into it.
We're supposed to pick Harrison Burton because John said they're going to win.
Well, John can have him.
John and everyone.
Put John in for DBC picks this week with Harrison Burton.
Who do you each think would be like your first 4 in and first 4 out?
So championship
first
four.
four out and championship four. Sorry.
Is this? I don't, man. It's never easy. So easy is the wrong word. But is this the easiest first round there's been in a long time?
It's a lot of wild card races, I feel like.
That's true also.
Atlanta is 100% a wild card race. Bristol's in there. Man, it's not Atlanta, but you can get caught up in somebody else's crap there.
That happened to Joey Logano last year.
So I feel like, man, these two of these first three races are, whew. If you're in the back half of points, like I said, 8th on back, you could easily be caught up in 2 wrecks and be out.
Who's the first 4 out?
Man, Martin Truex is not having a good run. I mean, you look at, he has no playoff points to lean on, right? 0 playoff points. Man, that's hard. Like, I mean, you hate to say Truex because I want to see him go deep for personal reasons, but I'll say Truex is out. I'll say Alex's Bowman is out, and he may be out of more than just a playoff if he's out first round.
There's a reason why they haven't announced any drivers in certain cars.
Daniel Suarez out, and Austin Cindric out. There's my 4. I'm having Harrison Burton in. All you Wood Brothers haters.
Okay, well, sometimes you got to bet with your head and not with your heart. I'll take Harrison out. I will take Suarez out. I'll take Cindric out. And I agree with you. I'll take Bowman out.
I think that's probably pretty accurate. I think Harrison, Cindric, Suarez, and Alex he's just having a tough go of it. So, and it's been not just like a one-off. So it's kind of, I don't know. That'll be my 4 too.
Carson, you get to play. Who's out?
I'm gonna go with Briscoe, Bowman, Cindric, and where'd it go? Suarez.
Yay, you pulling for Harrison too?
Yeah.
Hey, listen, to John's point about how good of a guy Harrison is, the line of people that went to congratulate him, including the 2 guys that he just knocked out of the playoffs in Bubba and Ross, like that just goes to show you what kind of person that kid is.
Yeah. I was with Eddie Wood the week they announced, or maybe the week before they announced it, and he and I were at Millbridge, and I was sitting in the stands with him, and I was like, man, you're hiring one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet, and he works his butt off, and he does. And so hopefully whatever opportunity is next for him, we're hearing a lot of Xfinity chatter, that whatever that next opportunity is for him, but it's one where he can go out and excel, because it's not like he had one race at the top 3 level.
And I truly don't think going to back down to Xfinity would be the worst thing at all. I think it would be better.
Here's the hard thing about going to Xfinity, Carson, is there's only 5 organizations that really win week in and week out. Otherwise, it's a Hail Mary to have a good weekend. I mean, you look at, JRM, they're going to stay relevant. Will Haas Factory team stay relevant? We don't know.
We'll
They're certainly one of the top 5. Colleague Racing, Richard Childress, Joe Gibbs. If you're not driving for one of those 5, you don't really have a chance to win.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like the rumors you hear, there's an available Xfinity ride that I don't think is a race-winning car. That's what the rumor we hear him getting into. But there's a possibility of a potential options that may be a race-winning truck, and it's like which do you do? Which do you get in? We've already talked about on here that the Xfinity cars are probably the most fun to drive out of all 3 series, really. So I would say that's probably where he lands. But again, we just had Ryan Truex on here last week talk about the fact that it's all about winning. If you can't win, are you really just content with just being out there? And some guys need that, full-time gig, and some guys are just out there trying to make it happen, make some happen for themselves. But it'll be interesting to see which route he takes.
So top 4, you got to pick your championship 4 right now. Carson, you go first because you went last.
All right, Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott.
Chase Elliott.
Yep.
Chase sexual today.
Chase sexual.
I don't even know what it means, but it's funny.
You don't even know what it means and you're saying it. Reddick and Byron, that's what I'm going to go with. It's a little whack,
Byron.
but
that's good.
That's what we're doing.
I feel like Willie B's been holding out a little bit.
That's what
Willie B is not. I
don't know. I feel like something big's about to happen.
Good. I mean, I feel like he maybe did the same thing last year. Like he comes out like a ball of fire, won a bunch of races, and then it kind of just summer months just don't agree with him for some reason.
TJ, you're next.
I feel like Larson will make it there. Bell.
Who's your champion?
Blaney and Brad.
Who's your champion?
What a homer.
The one who wins the race.
No
Who's your champ? Before we kick it to Freddie.
Kyle Larson.
God, how do you not?
I know.
I'm not, but I don't. How do you not?
Well, how do you not then?
Because I'm not.
Jesus, there's a lot of just knots going on here.
Not.
Freddie.
My turn. Larson, Bell, Reddick, Chase Elliott.
Wow.
I'll be a homer myself and say Reddick's going to win a championship if he doesn't pants between now and then.
I hope he wins.
That'll make our.
It's funny nobody's saying Denny.
I'm not. I told you I'm not picking him ever again. Like, it has nothing to do with the fact that he's poor guy's a snake pit every year it seems like it's Denny's year. This year right now he's not carrying as much momentum into the playoffs, I feel like, as he has in years past. But every year you go in and like, oh, this is it. This is the year. I've been saying it for 3 years, so now I'm done. Like,
There were 6 weeks.
I'm not jinxing him anymore.
There were 6 weeks where he was stupid hot. I feel like the last 6 have been Tyler Reddick stupid hot, but you can't deny Kyle Larson and how good he is. So Larson, Bell, Reddick, and Blaney for me. And I'm going to say Blaney wins championship.
I like that.
And I know it's 4 of the top 5.
If I was picking with my head, not my heart, I'd say Bell. If Bell gets to the Final Four, I think he's unbeatable at Phoenix just because how fast he's been all year at these types of racetracks. But I'll let my heart do the talking today and hope that.
Well, you know what
Reddick
Phoenix comes down to, man, is your pit stops. Like, you can be the best thing ever, and you have one bad pit stop and come out 8th or 9th, you're done. Which maybe not. A lot of racing left
for sure.
Atlanta, what's after Atlanta?
Watkins Glen.
So it's 3 wild card races.
Technically.
Yep.
It'll be fun. It'll be a fun round.
SVG going to win Watkins Glen?
Brawley.
I don't think he'll win the Glen.
I
think the more technical it is, the better he is, and this is not very.
It's fast and balls to the wall.
Yeah, but I will. Hey, man, I think we gotta give him a shout out for how good he was in the Xfinity race.
How about? Did you see the
ran
news?
well.
The tire news.
Very well.
They're talking about 4 seconds of fall off for the tires they're bringing to Watkins Glen.
Yeah,
which will be. I mean, if that holds true, that'll be.
But it's the fall off though. Yeah, I mean it'll definitely help. But they what better at the road course for sure. But like you go to like a mile and a half and everybody falls off the same pace, the same time, it still doesn't accomplish.
Well, the thing is, you have to have. Listen, the reason why that race was so good the other night is what other racetrack do we go to where you run 2 or 3 laps, like John was saying, and the yellow comes out and you go, should I pit?
Yeah.
You know, like, you know what I mean?
Because you heard them.
You know, and now, you know, I mean, there was one point in that run where there was maybe 10 laps on tires and the whole field came down pit road, you know?
Yeah, hey, don't scrub them too hard.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
I mean, when you tell a driver, hey, make sure you're careful scrubbing your tires.
Absolutely.
Weather looks good for Atlanta. 82, sunny both days, Saturday, Sunday.
Perfect.
So it'll be a little slick when you start, probably not crazy slick at the end.
What time does race start?
3:15.
It's also worth noting what that shark fin will do there as well. Does that stabilize the cars a little bit more? Because
trying not to flip them over with the shark fin, right?
Well, I mean, yes, but I think it'll change the way the cars drive a little bit, maybe through the corners. Does it stabilize them more? Can these guys run more wide open? Or
we saw that third lane develop at Daytona, and that's the only thing that was different from the
naturally
first,
too.
There wasn't, and there was no saving. Like the first couple of races, the plate races, you saw a third lane because everybody was saving fuel. That first stage of Daytona, we could all make it on fuel, so everybody was running wide open, and the third lane still formed up. That shark fin was the only thing that was different compared to, and I think we broke a track record in qualifying for the next gen car also. So it definitely makes a difference.
Logano hit a home run on his comments about the underbody. He said, change the underbody if you don't want these cars going up in the air.
Yeah, I mean.
Was that La or Logano? Which one was it?
Logano.
Jeez, oh man, people.
Logano.
Sound like it's his first race.
We haven't said Siri today, TJ.
Oh, hey Siri.
Hey, Siri.
I pissed off everybody.
Yeah, I did it again last week because I talked about you doing it. I
Yeah.
talked about you doing it. So now, welcome to the Hey Siri portion.
You
of
know,
the
that's
show.
how we should start a show. Hey Siri.
Everybody's show just shuts off immediately.
Kip texted me too. He was like, every time you said "Hey Siri," my phone stopped.
See, you got to quit.
So, all right. Well, we appreciate y'all listening.
Yep.
Carson, thanks for super subbing again. We love you.
Yeah.
Next time, remember it's hot in here.
Love y'all most of the time.
Most.
Don't flip your head off again or whatever you said. Next time you race, no flipping.
We got till October, so.
Okay.
We're at Millbridge again.
It'd be awesome if you guys wanted to come show us.
I would love to come if you
Is
would
it during
invite
the
me.
week? Is it a weekend?
Huh?
Is it going to be during the week? Or
It'll be a
weekend?
Wednesday night.
Invite me.
We'll be
Text me
there.
when you're going.
Okay, I'll text the group chat.
All right. Yeah.
We'll all
Hey, good
come.
luck to you boys in Atlanta. Stay out of strip clubs.
All right. Sounds good.
We out, holla.
See ya.